I think the end is theology. It's been a long time. Science festivals don't want to admit it, but something I have to admit. Like Newton, Darwin, in his later years, he also entered into the study of theology. Phenomena that science can now explain. It's incredibly rare. Can't even explain where humans came from. And mythology already explains a lot. Just that poetic record. Modern people can't believe those records are true. In the last video, we have listed some myths and legends from around the world. Records of the Great Flood. In fact, in the mythological records of various places are strikingly similar. It's just that most people, I don't pay much attention to these issues. At this point, someone will ask, do you know if this makes sense? The editor tells you, perhaps often the truth of history, hidden in these similarities. The first is Genesis and human origins. Yes, you read that right. Myths from around the world. Creation myths are similar. China has chaos that breeds Pangu. Pangu created the world. Nu was theory of creating man from soil. Bible Genesis. There is a seventh day that created the heavens and the earth and all things. On the seventh day, according to your appearance, created the first person. For Adam Yeshuo. There were mountain roads in Egypt that existed before the world, using calling to create the universe. Then he said to have men and women. And so there were humans. And he became a man himself. Begin to rule mankind. Became the first prison. The North American Indian tribes also have legends. Their god, with red soil and water, created the first humans. And so on and so forth. There's only a little bit of this. That humans were created by God. And it overflows like this. If these accounts are true, so we have to ask, where does God come from? What does it look like? So we're going to descend into something similar. First, let's take a look at what Noah and her husband and wife look like in mythological records. They are brother and sister. Are husband and wife, and both are human snake tails. The same image and legend. And then there's the great Japanese physician Noki and Name. Nyingma and Angie of Sumer. Witch and witch Indian myths. Isis and Osiris in ancient Egypt and so on. These gods, they all have the characteristic of a snake's tail. Are humans really the gods of these serpent-tailed people? Created. Even the Bible and Greek mythology record. The image of the snake has a particularly great impact on humans. In fact, there are many images of God. Most are similar to humans. But that was the later God. Ancient gods. Most of them are a little different from human appearance. These are things called attention. Mythological records around the world. Invariably, the images of these gods are recorded. You know, it's hard for humans to imagine that they haven't seen it, or something you haven't heard of. And it's still such a large range of boxes in the world. Don't you think it's amazing? If these gods did not exist, so why can people record? What about their image? This 10,000-year-old puzzle. At this moment, there seems to be an answer. Where does God come from? I saw their images. So here's the problem. God created us. So where did God come from? Biblical Hindu mythology, ancient Egyptian mythology, ancient Babylon and other myths. It is said that God came from heaven and lived in the sky. Even the mythological records of our Chinese civilization, there is also a saying of heaven. Babel pillar of heaven. Buzhou mountain is something that is all day or climbing to the sky. There are also many mythological records. The Bible's faithful vehicle, the second wheel, with the coming of God, burst into flames, lightning and fog. The chariot of all beings in Indian mythology. Every appearance is accompanied by light and lightning. Sumerian civilization and the Mayan civilization, to tell people more directly. The god of Sumer civilization, Ainana 7, from Nibiru. Mayan god from Sirius Orion. And so forth. These ancient myths seem to tell us God comes from heaven, came to earth in a fire-breathing car, created human beings. A series of these similarities. Let's think deeply. Will God bring creatures with foreign names to earth? Conducted some kind of planetary modification experiment. Created us humans. Ladies and gentlemen, have you also considered some issues? Yes. In mythology, we are all created by God. The image of God is so similar, and we all look pretty much the same. So is it possible to come to a conclusion? The Savior is created by God. This is the mystery of human origin. As for why they created us, we don't know. I hope one day in the future, they will take the initiative to communicate with their creatures, to explain it all, not to destroy us.